Today we've got a T-Rex versus I-Rex haul. We've got a ton of figures and we're gonna be putting them over here to face off against each other. Let's first set up these super colossal figures. This is the Camp Cretaceous Indominus Rex. It's got a super bumpy texture all over its body and it's got some of my favorite teeth in my entire collection. For the T-Rex side is another super colossal figure, but this one is actually custom colored. Check out this awesome green camo painting. It's even got some battle damage on its side too. Now let's get started with our smaller T-Rex and I-Rex figures. Let's grab this Camp Cretaceous Extreme Battle Damage I-Rex figure. It's quite a bit smaller than the super colossal version, but it has some action buttons. One for the jaws and another button to activate the battle damage. Let's set this I-Rex right next to the super colossal. For our next T-Rex, we've got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure features much more intricate painting than many of the Mattel figures, and it is very adjustable and posable as well. Let's set this up right next to the super colossal. Let's grab our next I-Rex figure. We're gonna go with this hybrid, crazy looking I-Rex. It's got a bright red color all the way down its back, some crazy coloring, and some gold on the side as well. And check out this feature. That is pretty cool. Let's set this up right underneath the super colossal figure. And grabbing our next T-Rex figure, let's go with this custom colored Fire T-Rex. This figure is quite a bit smaller than the Hammond Collection figure, but it has even cooler painting in my opinion. Let's set this one up to face off with the I-Rexes. Back to the I-Rexes, we've got this older Jurassic World Indominus Rex figure. And this one's pretty unique because it actually has a rubberized neck and jaw. Let's set this up right next to the bright I-Rex figure. The next T-Rex figure is the Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex. It's got a lot of darker detailing along its body compared to other T-Rex figures, and it has an awesome, huge chomping action. Let's set this T-Rex up way in the back. For the I-Rexes, let's go ahead and grab this other huge figure. Now this Indominus Rex figure is pretty similar to the battle damage version, but it does not have the battle damage on the side. Instead, it has a button that swings its arms. And let's set this one up in the back too. For the T-Rexes, let's grab this slightly smaller T-Rex. It's got the dark brown coloring on top and the gray-brown coloring on the sides. And of course, it's got a roar and chomping action. Let's set this one up real close to the Indominus Rexes. We're getting pretty close. Back to the I-Rexes, let's grab this really strange looking I-Rex figure. This is by Imaginext, and this figure has a super cool swinging and chomping action. Look at that, it swings its whole neck and torso around. Let's set this up right next to its other buddies. Our next T-Rex figure is an orange version with battle damage painted all over its body. It's got damage on its torso, on its leg, its tail, and even its face too. Let's set this dino up right next to the other T-Rexes. I've got another huge I-Rex figure right here, and this one might be the craziest colored of them all. This figure is the exact same size as these other two figures here, but it's got some crazy orange, purple, blue, and black. Here's another extreme battle damage Tyrannosaurus Rex. I believe this one was from Camp Cretaceous. Let's check out that battle damage right on the side. Let's set this T-Rex up in the back, right next to the Dominion T-Rex. Here is the Sound Surge Indominus Rex. It's a lot smaller than many of the other figures, but this one comes with some really cool sound effects. Let's sneak this Indominus Rex right back here. I've also got the Sound Surge T-Rex figure as well. Let's check out these sound effects. Let's put this little T-Rex underneath the larger T-Rexes. Next up, I believe this is part of the Rowdy Roars collection. Here is another wild-looking I-Rex. Check it out, it's got a chomping and biting action. It's pretty cool. Let's put this right front and center. For the T-Rex side, we've got a special hybrid T-Rex. Check out the spikes that pop out of its back. That is super cool looking. Let's set this up close to the front. For the I-Rexes, we've got a smaller figure. This one has some battle damage right on the side that you can open and close. Plus, you can chomp the jaw by moving the tail. I think we've got a little more space in the front up here. And here is our last big T-Rex figure for this Versus collection. This is a red and black spotted T-Rex. Plus, it's got a little action button on its back to chomp its jaw. And we'll set it down right behind the T-Rex with the spikes. Here's an even smaller I-Rex figure. It's got some battle damage on the side. You can't open and close, but you can still use the tail to chomp the jaw. Let's set this I-Rex right in the front here. We're getting real close now. And finally, we've got some miniature T-Rex and I-Rex figures right here. Let's go ahead and set up this completely clear I-Rex figure in the front. And on the opposing side, this tiny orange T-Rex. All right, now they are all in formation. Which side do you think would win? The I-Rexes or the T-Rexes? Today, I'm showing you all of my T-Rex figures from biggest to smallest, so let's jump in. My first biggest T-Rex is this super colossal T-Rex from Jurassic World. This T-Rex has a bright orange body with a darker brown top. And just like all my super colossal figures, it can swallow miniature dinosaurs down its throat to the stomach compartment that you can open it up. My next biggest T-Rex is this super colossal Jurassic Park T-Rex. This is actually from Jurassic World Dominion. It has a much darker body. It's got black on top, brown on the sides, and a lighter underbelly. It's got a huge jaw, and this figure can also swallow miniature dinosaurs and open them up in the stomach compartment. Next up, we've got a Jurassic Park T-Rex. I believe this T-Rex was called the Bull T-Rex. And this figure too can swallow miniature dinosaurs and other small stuff, and you can empty it out in the stomach compartment. Right on top here, we've got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure has some of the coolest coloring out of all the T-Rexes that I have, and it is remarkably adjustable too. You can bend the legs in all different directions, at the knees, at the ankles. You can bend the arms, you can twist the neck, and you can open the mouth, of course. Next, I've got this huge Jurassic World T-Rex with this ginormous head. This figure has the black top and brown sides, just like the super colossal T-Rex from Jurassic World Dominion. And this T-Rex can be controlled by moving the tail around. Back here, we've got, I believe, what is called the Terran T-Rex or something like that. The special feature on this T-Rex is the tearing action with its mouth. It swings its head around and closes it at the same time. And it's got a secondary action button to swing the tail around too. This T-Rex, also from Jurassic World, is a stompin' T-Rex. When you twist the tail, it stomps its legs up and down. And it has those cool sound effects too. Plus, as you notice with the cage, it actually breaks free from the cage just by pressing the button on its back. That is pretty cool. Here we've got another Jurassic Park T-Rex. So this is a very old figure. It's got the rubber body. And with this T-Rex figure, you can move the tail to swing the head back and forth. So it's not as advanced as the new Jurassic World T-Rexes, but it's still pretty cool. We've got tons more T-Rexes to go. Let's keep digging. This huge T-Rex with similar coloring as the first super colossal T-Rex that we saw has some pretty cool functions. When you swing the tail, it swings its head back and forth, and it has a roar function when you move the tail, and a chomping action. All just by moving the tail. That is pretty cool. Over here, we've got a darker gray colored T-Rex with some brown on the top. This is also by Jurassic World. And you can twist the neck around, you can open the jaw, there's a button on top, activate the chomping, and you can swivel the tail around and move the legs as well. I think this one's bigger than the rest of them. This T-Rex has one of my favorite functions. It's actually battery operated, so that when you press the button on its tail, it opens its mouth and shakes. It actually has a motor in it to do that, which is pretty cool. Plus, you can move the tail around to swing its neck around to look. That's really cool. This T-Rex was custom colored a long time ago. It's got the bright green on the side, and it's got like camo colors and black all over the rest of its body with the lighter underbelly. And just like that bright orange T-Rex we saw just a second ago, you can control chomping and roaring with this figure just by moving the tail around. Next up, we've got a light brown T-Rex from Jurassic World. This is very similar in function to the darker gray figure that we just saw. It has the chomping button on the top of its head. You can move its neck around, and you can adjust the rest of its body parts too. This is the extreme battle damage T-Rex from Jurassic World. It's got some different patterning along the top of its body compared to the rest of them, but the most important part is the battle damage on both sides that you can press this button up top to turn it on and off. Plus, the rest of the figure is very adjustable as well. Here's another T-Rex with some battle damage on it. It doesn't have the extreme battle damage on the side that you can turn on and off, but it does have these slashes all over its body, even its legs and its tail too. The rest of the figure is very adjustable, and of course, the button at the top of the head for chomping. Next up, we've got another custom colored T-Rex. This one is a super bright red color. Looks kind of like fire in my opinion, and it's got the black on the top and the orange striping right along the sides. And this figure is adjustable just like many of the other figures that I've shown so far too. Next up, we've got another bright orange T-Rex with the brown top. This figure is fully adjustable throughout its body, and it's got the chomp button at the top of its head. Here's one of my favorite T-Rexes. This is a dark green color, and I'm not sure that I have any other green colored T-Rexes in my collection, so this one's pretty special to me. It's also got the black detailing along the top, and its body is fully adjustable with the legs, tail, arms, and neck, and there's the button at the top of its head for chomping. Let's keep going, we still got quite a few T-Rexes to go. This T-Rex is from the old Jurassic World toy line. It's got a rubberized neck, so it's a bit flexible there, as well as the rubberized tail. And it has a chomping action with the tail. Now we're getting down to some slightly smaller T-Rex figures. This is a Jurassic World T-Rex, and it is actually a hybrid. It's got some spikes on the top of its head that you can push down and activate them by pressing the button on its back. Here is another custom colored T-Rex from the old Jurassic World toy line. It is bright red in color with black spots all over and the yellow underbelly. And it also has a chomping action on its back. Here's another similar T-Rex from the old Jurassic World toy line. This T-Rex is light tan in color all over its body. It's a little bit lighter on its belly. And just like the other two that we just saw, it has the chomping action button on its back. All right, this next T-Rex is a little bit smaller. This is a Jurassic Park T-Rex. I believe it's a juvenile T-Rex, and it's actually got some battle damage right on the side. Next up, we've got a new Jurassic World Dominion figure. This, I believe, is the Sound Surge T-Rex. It's pretty small in size, and you have to open and close its jaw manually, but it does come with some awesome sound effects. And we've got some model T-Rexes in here. I'm not sure what brand this is from, and you can't move any of the limbs or the jaw on this figure, but it's got the dark brown coloring. It's got some interesting shading and black stripes all over its body. Here is another dark brown model T-Rex, but on this one you can open and close its jaw. It's also got the black stripes and the lighter underbelly too. Check out that little bit of yellow right there on its nose. It's interesting. Here is a dark green model T-Rex. This one you cannot move any of its body parts, so it is standing in this awesome roaring pose, just like I'm sure you've seen in the movies. Here is a bright orange or red model T-Rex. With this figure you can open and close the jaw, check out all those little teeth, and this figure looks quite a bit more muscular than a lot of the T-Rexes, I will say. Here is a super bright model T-Rex. It's got the bright blue along the top of its body, as well as the gold stripes. It's got a gray underbelly and some teal coloring right along its face. Here is a darker model T-Rex. I love the attention to detail with the skin. It's like you can see all these little bumps all over its body. It's got the black stripes as well. And on this model, you can open and close its mouth. Here is a super striped T-Rex. This has some really bold black stripes right along the top of its body, while the rest of its body is this soft tan or orange color. And it's got some super bright yellow eyes too. And unfortunately, you cannot move any of the body parts on this model. Next up, we've got a light green colored T-Rex with some darker shading and detailing along its body. You can see those bumps right along its spine. And this figure does not have any moving parts either. So it is stuck in this roaring pose. We've got some even smaller T-Rexes in here. Here is a Jurassic World T-Rex that is pretty small. It's probably 7 inches from tail to the nose, and it fits easily in my hand. It's got some battle damage on the side, and the tail controls the jaw and face. We've actually got a few more Jurassic World T-Rexes just like that last one. This first one is actually a hybrid T-Rex. It is a hybrid with a Dilophosaurus, as you can tell by these huge frills on the front. It's still got the battle damage on the side, and it's got this reflective gold along the top of its body and the very front too. And this T-Rex has a bright green body. It's got the battle damage on the side still, and some darker detailing right along its face. This T-Rex figure is from Jurassic Park, so this is a super old figure. It's got some interesting purple detailing along the top. It's got a tan body, and actually, this figure has a unique feature on the leg. You can actually bend it like that, because it is a broken leg for this T-Rex. Right over here, we've got another juvenile T-Rex. This one has a bandage on its leg and the restraint on its mouth, so it can't bite people. It is super bright green with some cool detailing along the back and is very adjustable with all of its limbs too. This baby T-Rex is also from Jurassic World. It is bright green or yellow in color with some detailing along the top, and when you pull down on the tail, it chomps its jaws shut. All right, we've got some super small T-Rexes in here. I believe this one is from Jurassic World. I'm not sure actually, but they are both brown in color. This one is very adjustable. You can even move the tail around, you can move the legs and open and close the jaw. But this figure doesn't have any moving parts actually. And our last two T-Rexes of this collection from biggest to smallest. We've got a bright blue T-Rex with black stripes and no movable body parts. And this T-Rex here, you can move the legs, you can twist the tail around, and you can open and close the jaw too. Today we're checking out all of my Indominus Rex figures from Jurassic World, and we're going to be putting them side by side from biggest to smallest. So let's get started with the biggest one, the super colossal I-Rex figure. This figure is probably over 3 feet from the tip of its nose all the way to its tail. So this one is ginormous. Next, we've got the Destroy and Devour I-Rex, but this one is actually custom colored with the blue, the purple, and the orange striping, and my favorite part, the bright green eyes. And it has some action buttons. The first operates its arms, and the second operates its jaw. So let's set down this I-Rex next to the super colossal version. Look at that size difference. Next up, we've got another Destroy and Devour I-Rex, but this one is not custom colored. This is actually the coloring that it originally came in. It's got the classic darker coloring around its orange eyes. It's got plenty of texturing and spikes along its back, and of course the same action buttons on its back to operate its arms and its jaw too. And check it out, there's even some space in its mouth that it could probably fit a few miniature dinosaurs inside of its mouth. The next I-Rex that I've got is the Extreme Battle Damage Edition. You'll see that it's a pretty similar size to these other Destroy and Devour figures, but this one, instead of having a button that activates its arms, it has a button that activates the damage on the side with sound effects. Other than that, you can see it's got very similar coloring to the Destroy and Devour I-Rex, and of course it's got the button on its tail to activate the jaw. Next up, I've got a really unique looking Indominus Rex figure. This one was actually made by Hasbro, and this is a hybrid Indominus Rex figure. It's got tons of red all over its body and like lightning strike patterns almost. It's got a button on its side to activate the spines coming out of its back, and you can move its arm to activate the motor that opens and closes its mouth too. Plus, check out these extra teeth inside its mouth that you can actually like kind of move around. I think they flip up when its mouth is open. It's pretty different compared to the Destroy and Devour and all those other I-Rex figures. And let's see if we can stand this one up. It doesn't stand up too well usually. I might have to lean it against that other one. There we go. Next up in size is actually another I-Rex by Hasbro. This is the Indominus Rex that I believe was made for the first Jurassic World movie. And this one is quite a bit different from the Destroy and Devour ones because it's got a rubber neck. You can see its whole front face and its neck is like a rubber. And you actually open and close its mouth by moving its arms up and down. So it's kind of spring-loaded. And this I-Rex is definitely smaller than the hybrid I-Rex. So we're gonna put this as the next biggest dinosaur, next in line. Next up in size is another figure made by Mattel. This Indominus Rex is very different looking compared to what we've seen so far entirely. It's got huge orange eyes, it's got some blue spike detailing running down its back, and it's got a really unique attack feature as well. What you do is you move its tail up and down, and it actually swings its head in a circular motion all over, and it has some chomping actions as well. It's pretty wild looking. All right, let's put this interesting looking Indominus Rex right next to the Hasbro one. All right, now the figures are getting a little bit smaller. This is the Feeding Frenzy Indominus Rex from Hasbro. It's got some huge orange, yellow, and red eyes. It's got a ginormous head and a smaller body, and this figure actually has a few functions. You can use the tail to open up the mouth, and then when you have a piece of meat, which I couldn't find unfortunately, you place it in its mouth and it clamps its mouth shut. Plus, there is a button on the top of its head right here to activate more sound effects. Now, this next figure is not officially from Jurassic World, but it is an Indominus Rex. This one is actually a model Indominus Rex made by some other brand. I can't remember the name of the brand. So this figure does look quite a bit different compared to the Mattel versions and even the Hasbro versions, but it still looks like an Indominus Rex. Next in size is another older I-Rex figure. I believe this one was by Hasbro as well. It's quite a bit different in size compared to the Destroy and Devour dinosaurs. It's got some battle damage on the side that you can open and close, and you can use the tail to chomp its mouth down too. So let's get this one next in line. This next one I believe was called like a Bite and Thrashers or something like that, and this one is pretty small. This one has some battle damage painted right on the side, and you can use the tail to move the head around and chomp its jaw as well. And this one is quite a bit smaller compared to the one that we just saw too. Look at that. And my last three I-Rex figures are all really small, so let's go take these down to the edge of the table. This first one is a Lego I-Rex. I believe it's a pretty old version, which is pretty cool. It's got the red eyes and some cool gray detailing and coloring on the sides. So let's stand this one up. Our next biggest is this silver reflective Indominus Rex, which is pretty cool. And I believe this one is by Mattel as well. So let's put this right next to the Lego I-Rex. And finally, the smallest I-Rex that I have is this clear Indominus Rex. It's got some really amazing detailing with the texturing despite how small it is. And of course it doesn't have any coloring because the whole thing is completely see-through. So let's put this at the very end. Today we're going to be checking out a collection of some of my scariest carnivore dinosaurs from biggest to smallest, and we're going to be putting them up over here to check them out side by side. So let's get started with the biggest one, the Indominus Rex. This figure is absolutely massive. It is larger than a lot of my T-Rex figures, and this is actually the battle damage edition. See, it turns red when you press the button, which is really cool. Plus, the rest of the body is very adjustable. You can move all its arms, its legs, you can adjust its neck, and it even has a button on its tail to activate the jaw. So let's go ahead and set the Indominus Rex down at the edge right over here. Moving on, let's see what the next largest dinosaur is. Probably the Giganotosaurus. This is another super large figure. It's got the green body with the black detailing all over, and it has a few actions actually as well. The first action is a button on the top of its tail that activates the swinging action with its entire upper torso. And there's also a button beneath its tail to activate just the jaw alone. All right, let's put this Giganotosaurus down right next to the Indominus Rex. And look at the size difference even between those two as well. That's pretty crazy. All right, next up, let's see. I bet it's one of the T-Rexes, and it's probably the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex figure. This figure has some awesome coloring and shading and is the most posable out of basically all my T-Rex figures. And an interesting feature of the Hammond collection is the realistic parts of its mouth. It's got these flaps on its side that are rubber, so they actually move around pretty realistically. The tongue is also rubberized as well. Let's put this Hammond collection T-Rex right next to the Giganotosaurus. All right, I bet the next biggest one is this other T-Rex figure. This is a Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex. It's got some brand new coloring. It's got the orange-brown color and some gray detailing on the top. And this is actually an extreme battle damage T-Rex. You can press the button to reveal the damage on its side, just like that Indominus Rex over there. So, since this is the next biggest T-Rex, let's put it down right next to the Hammond Collection T-Rex. All right, looking pretty good so far. Next up in size is this Allosaurus figure from Jurassic World Dominion. This is the largest Allosaurus figure that I have, and it actually has some battle damage on the side. Let me show you that. Right here, you see it's hidden completely right now, but then you can click it down to reveal the ribs, and then you can even lift those up to reveal the intestines inside. This is really cool, and the only Allosaurus that I have that can do that. Plus, it has an action button on its back to activate the jaw. Let's put this Allosaurus down right next to the extreme battle damage T-Rex. Let's see, what's next biggest in size? I think it might be this Endoraptor right here. This thing's pretty large. It's got the all black body with the iconic gold stripe down its side. And this one actually has a few actions. You can see there's a little button on its tail right there to activate its arms. And there's a button at the bottom of its tail to activate its jaw too. All right, let's set this Endoraptor down next to the Allosaurus. That Allosaurus is quite a bit larger. All right, let's keep digging. I think this Carnotaurus might be the next largest size. It's got some battle damage on its nose, and it is the darker brown version of the Carnotaurus. And it has the action button on its tail to activate the jaw as well. Let's set it down. You know what? I think it might be larger than the Endoraptor, so let's go ahead and have them switch places real quick. There we go. That's looking better. Over here, we've got another Carnotaurus figure, but this one is smaller than the one that I just showed you, and it is a bit more brightly colored. It's a brighter red, it has the light underbelly, and then the black detailing on the top, and it has an action button on its back instead of its tail to activate the jaw. All right, let's set it down right next to the Endoraptor. Let's see, I think the next biggest carnivore in this collection is a Tarbosaurus. And this is definitely a scary looking carnivore. Check out that red underneath its chin and those red eyes too. And all those spikes, those are massive. Let's put this down right next to the Carnotaurus. Check out all those dinosaurs we have so far. Super cool. All right, let's see, next in size, maybe this other Allosaurus figure right here. This Allosaurus has a slide lever action on its back, so you get a bunch of different sound effects with it. You You can get a growl all the way to a roar. All right, let's set this dinosaur down right next to the Tarbosaurus. And it is quite a bit smaller than the Tarbosaurus. Next up, I think, is the Giganotosaurus. This is the Sound Surge Giganotosaurus, so a whole lot smaller than the one that we saw earlier, but it has the same coloring and detailing, and it has sound effects that you can hear that you can activate by pressing this button up top. All right, let's set it down right next to the Allosaurus. They're actually pretty similar in size, so it might be a little hard to tell who's larger, but I think it's still the Allosaurus. Next, I think, is a Pyroraptor figure. This is the new Jurassic World Dominion version, and it is the basic version as well, so you can't open and close the jaw, but you can move the arms, the legs, and the tail a bit. Let's set this down right next to the smaller Giganotosaurus figure. Next up in size in the Scary Carnivore collection is the Megaraptor. This thing has some super bright coloring. You can tell that it is a feathered dinosaur. You can see some feathers on its legs, on its tail, on its arms. It's pretty cool. So let's set this down right next to the Megaraptor. Next up is this slightly smaller Endoraptor, a bit smaller than the earlier version that we saw, but it has the same coloring, and this one actually does not have any action buttons, but it is superposable. Let's put this down next to the Megaraptor. Next in size, we've got the basic Atrociraptor figure from Jurassic World Dominion. This has the white body with the brown striping all over and those bright red eyes. Let's put this down next to the smaller Endoraptor. Here is an Amber Collection Velociraptor. I can't remember which Velociraptor this is, but it has the brown coloring with the darker striping all over its body. Looks like we're running out of room on the edge there, so we're gonna create a new row right up in front here. Next is this much smaller Indominus Rex figure. This is an earlier version of the Indominus Rex compared to this one way over here on the edge, and look at that size difference too. And actually, I think this smaller Indominus Rex has a slightly more blue tone than the super large one. It's pretty cool. Let's put this down right next to the Amber Collection Velociraptor. For the next smallest scary carnivore, I've actually got this brand new one from Jurassic World Dominion. This one I believe is pronounced Aquilnosaurus. Let's open it up. So this is a pretty interesting looking dinosaur, and it's actually an extreme battle damage edition that you can see on the sides. Just click this button, and there you go, you reveal the damage underneath. Plus you can pose its neck, and I think you can even open and close its mouth too. There we go, that's pretty cool. Let's put this down next to the Indominus Rex. The next up in size of scary carnivores is this extreme battle damage Pyroraptor. Just like the dinosaur that we just saw, there's a button on top that activates the battle damage. Plus, the rest of its body is posable as well. And check out the size difference from this Pyroraptor to this basic Pyroraptor right there. A huge difference in size. Let's put it down right up front here. All right, now we're getting down to the really small ones. Here is a super small Atrociraptor figure. It has the same color as the basic Atrociraptor that we saw earlier, but is a whole lot smaller. So let's put this right next to the Pyroraptor. And I've actually got one more Atrociraptor figure in here with totally different coloring. This one is a bright orange with tan stripes on its body, and it's got some yellow, evil looking eyes. So let's put this right next to the smaller Atrociraptor right in front. And it looks like we've got a few Velociraptor figures in here. This first one is Velociraptor Blue with the iconic blue striping down both sides of its body. So let's put Velociraptor Blue right next to the orange Atrociraptor. And this other Velociraptor that I've got in here is a brown and yellow Velociraptor. It's pretty similar to Velociraptor Blue, but different coloring, and it's got some reflective green eyes. That's pretty cool. Let's set this one down. And finally, I've got some super small Jurassic World scary carnivore figures in here. Let's put these on the table and check them out one by one. I think the first largest is probably this Baryonyx. I think it's a Baryonyx figure. It's all green in color, so not a whole lot of difference with the coloring, but it's got a decent amount of texturing. Let's put this next to the larger Velociraptor. Next up in size, let's see, I think is probably this Velociraptor figure. This one has 2 different colors on it, even though it's so small. Oh no, actually 3. It's got a pink tongue and the 2 tones of gray on its body. That's pretty cool. Let's put it down next to the Baryonyx. Next up is the Carnotaurus figure. I got this one pretty recently in a pack, and you can actually open and close its mouth. Let's set this one down here. And last of all is this Baryonyx figure that actually came in the same pack as this little Carnotaurus. Let's put them side by side, and it is a bit smaller. All right, we're finished. Today we're going to be checking out my entire collection of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom figures and arranging them from biggest all the way to the smallest. The biggest Fallen Kingdom figure that I have is this super colossal orange and brown T-Rex figure. This figure features some great detailing all over its body and of course the ginormous mouth with the stomach compartment so you can feed it smaller dinosaurs. Let's set this at the very end because this is our biggest dinosaur in the collection. My next biggest Fallen Kingdom figure is this huge Mosasaurus figure. This figure features the dark blue body with texturing all over. You can move the fins and you can open and close the mouth too. Let's set this down right next to our super colossal T-Rex. Next up, we've got the Spinosaurus figure from the Legacy collection. This is a pretty special dinosaur because this one is pretty hard to find nowadays. It's got the dark green body and the red, white, and green spine. And it has the button at the top of its head to open and close its mouth. And you know what? The Mosasaurus's body is a bit bigger, but the Spinosaurus is taller, so let's have them switch place. Next in size for the Fallen Kingdom figures is this T-Rex figure right here. And this figure actually has some pretty cool features. You can use the tail for a roaring action and for a chomping action too. Check that out. Let's set it down right next to the Mosasaurus. I've got even more T-Rexes in this collection. This is the Battle Damage edition. It's the same orange color as the first 2 T-Rexes that we've seen, even the super colossal one. But this one has the Battle Damage painting all over its body. So let's set this one down. This next Fallen Kingdom T-Rex is almost identical to the Battle Damage, except this one does not have the Battle Damage at all. So this is just a plain good old T-Rex figure. Next up, let's go with the Endoraptor. This is the Grab and Growl Endoraptor. And this figure is quite rare as well. Check it out, it's got a button for its claws, it's got a button for its jaws, and you can use the tail to move its head around. Next up for Fallen Kingdom, we've got a Carnotaurus figure. This figure is a bit smaller than the newer Carnotaurus figures that Jurassic World has released, and its coloring is a bit brighter as well. Plus, it's got a button on its back for the chomping action. This is the Suchomimus figure. There is a yellow version that's newer than this one, but this is part of the Fallen Kingdom collection. And this figure has one action button on its back for the chomping action. Next is this Endoraptor figure. It's a bit smaller than the Grab and Growl version that I've got over there, but it is very posable and it has the same iconic coloring. For the next in size, why don't we go with this Stegosaurus? Jurassic World has released other Stegosaurus figures, but this is the only one with this teal blue-green coloring. And this figure has an action that when you press down on this spine, it swings its tail back and forth. Next, we've got a Baryonyx figure, and this one is pretty special because it came as part of a pack, and I think it's one of the only Baryonyxes that have this orange on the top of its head. So let's set it down right next to the Stegosaurus. I've also got a Ceratosaurus figure right here. This one is super bright with the yellow, black, and red, and it has an action button on its back to activate the jaw. Here is a Metriacanthosaurus figure. It's got the mustard yellow coloring with the dark green on top, and it has the action button on its back, just like the Ceratosaurus, to activate its jaw. Next, let's grab this Triceratops figure with the clay red or kind of orangish coloring. It's got the brown on top, and it's got the action button on its back to lift up its head. Now this next dinosaur isn't very tall, but I think it's the next in size. This is a Pteranodon figure, and you can fully extend the wings, and there's a button on its back for the wing flapping action. Next up in size is this Pachycephalosaurus figure. It's got the green body with the clay red coloring and some battle damage that you can open and close on the side. And I've got quite a few of Velociraptor blue figures from Fallen Kingdom as well. This first one is the battle damage edition. You can see the battle damage right there on the side that you can open and close. I've also got the spring-loaded version of Velociraptor blue. So its legs are spring-loaded so it can launch into the air. And I've also got the normal version of Velociraptor blue from Fallen Kingdom. The next biggest Fallen Kingdom figure that I have is this bright orange Velociraptor figure. And this figure, just like that other Velociraptor blue figure, is spring-loaded in the legs, so it'll actually jump up into the air. And let's start a new row up front right here since we are out of space in the back. Next up here is this Stygimoloch figure. It's got the clay red coloring with some darker detailing, and it's got the super hard helmet head and the spikes that come out the back too. Next up is this battle damage Monolophosaurus figure. It is a soft green color, but it has the battle damage right on the side that you can open and close. Next, we've got a tiny battle damage Triceratops figure in a bright green color. Check out that battle damage that you can just flip open right on the side. And finally, I've got another Pteranodon figure in the same coloring as the bigger Pteranodon in the back. This one, though, actually has battle damage on its back that you can open up. Plus, you can see that its wings are damaged too. Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a ton of Predator dinosaur figures from the Camp Cretaceous collection. And I've even got some huge brand new ones to open up today. Let's go ahead and start with these brand new ones. Let's start with the biggest one at the bottom here. This is the super colossal Indominus Rex. Let's open it up. This thing is already huge. Let's get those legs and tail on. Here is the fully assembled super colossal Indominus Rex. So first off, it has the typical coloring that the smaller Indominus Rexes have. But when you open up the mouth, you can see that there's a tunnel that goes all the way down into the stomach compartment right here. So you can actually feed this Indominus Rex miniature dinosaurs and then empty it out through the stomach right here. That is super cool. Plus, even though this thing is huge, it still is fully adjustable. Of course, you can adjust the jaw. You can also twist the neck. You can adjust the arms up and down. You can move the legs and ankles. And of course, you can move the tail. All in all, I'd say this dinosaur is probably around 2 feet tall and maybe 3 feet long. We've still got 2 brand new dinosaurs to open up. Let's start with the Albertosaurus. All right, so this is a medium-sized dinosaur. As you can see, it is a mostly green dinosaur, but it has those red striping on its side from the head all the way to its stomach on both sides. And there's an action button on the tail. If you press the button, it chomps the jaw. Plus, if you twist the tail, it moves its head back and forth like that. I have a few other Albertosauruses. Some of them even have battle damage on the side. This one does not, so this is just the normal primal attack Albertosaurus. Next up, we've got a feeding frenzy Indominus Rex. Let's open it up. All right, here is the feeding frenzy Indominus Rex. Let's check it out. So it has the same coloring as the huge one that we just saw, and it has this huge face and jaw too. This dinosaur comes with tons of sound effects, and it comes with this piece of meat. Let's see what happens when you feed it. So it's making some growling noises, and when it hits the trigger in there, its eyes start glowing too. That is pretty cool. And I love how big the teeth are on this dinosaur as well. Just look at that. Those are so huge. Right up top here, we've got another Indominus Rex. This one is still huge, not quite as huge as the super colossal one that we just opened up. And as you can see, it's colored kind of the same. It has some dark gray on the top and a lighter gray on the sides. It's got those orange eyes. And this dinosaur has 2 action buttons on it. First, you've got the tail button that activates the jaw. And then you've got a button on its back that activates the slashing action. All in all, this is a really cool Indominus Rex figure. Up next, we've got a giant Spinosaurus with dark green coloring on the sides. And on its spine, there's red, white, and a little bit of green at the bottom. Plus, this Spinosaurus is fully adjustable with the neck, the arms, the legs, and the tail. And of course, you can press the button on the top of its head to open its jaw. This is a super awesome figure and huge. Right up here, we've got a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but I believe that this one was custom colored. So you won't really see coloring like this on other T-Rexes that you can get. But look how cool it is. It's bright red, black on the top, and then the orange on the sides. It almost looks like the T-Rex is on fire. That is so awesome. Back here, we've got another T-Rex. This one is normal color. It's got brown on the sides, a darker brown on the top, and the tan belly. Plus, this dinosaur has a few action buttons as well. You can move the tail, and it moves its head around, which I really like. It's super realistic. And there's even a button on the tail that you can press to open its jaw. Back here, we've got another T-Rex, but this one is battle damage. Look at that right on the side. And pressing the button, you can turn it on and off. That is super awesome. And this T-Rex is fully adjustable with the legs, tail, neck, and the jaw as well. Back here, we've actually got another battle damage T-Rex, but this one is a bit different than the other one. Instead of having the thing on its side right here, you can see that there's a bunch of slashes all over its body, on the tail, on its legs, on its belly, and even on its face. And just like the other T-Rexes, this is fully adjustable. You can move the tail, the legs, the arms, the neck, and this one has a button at the top to make it roar. Here is another giant Spinosaurus with different coloring than the last one we saw. This one is mostly brown with the red detailing. You can see along its face it's got that bright red coloring as well as along its spine. And even on the top you can see that there's a lighter tan and then a dark brown color right along the top. That is super cool. Fully adjustable, and it has the button on the head that you can use to open its jaw. Up next, we've got the mighty Carcharodontosaurus. This dinosaur is a mostly tan yellow coloring, but you can see that there's orange and brown striping all the way up to its head. And this dinosaur has an action button as well. With the button on its back, you can do the chomping action. Here is the Tarbosaurus. This dinosaur has totally different coloring. It is a dark gray color with black stripes all along its body. It's got those spikes all along its spine, and right on its chin and on its neck is a bright red color. This dinosaur is fully adjustable with its arms, legs, tail. The tail actually controls the head, and the button on the tail controls the jaw as well. Here's another fierce predator. This is an Allosaurus. It's a dark green color with red and white speckles on its neck and face. And it is fully adjustable, and it's got this slide action. That is super awesome. Right over here, we've got the great Metriacanthosaurus. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a yellow-green color on the sides. It's got the green coloring on top with the action button that controls its jaw. And it is fully adjustable in the legs and arms as well. Right over here, we've actually got a few Baryonyxes with totally different coloring. This first one, gray coloring with blue and a bright blue on the top, and it has a slide action for its roars. This second Baryonyx is brown colored, and it has blue detailing on the top and a bright orange top of the head. And the action button on this dinosaur activates the jaw. All right, here's another massive predator. This is a Carnotaurus. This dinosaur can be controlled by its tail. When you move its tail, it moves its head around. There's also a button on the tail to activate the jaw. And I love the coloring on this. This is like a dark brown red color with speckles of like a gray color as well. So it's quite detailed and fully adjustable as usual too. Right over here, we've got a super long-nosed dinosaur. This is the Sarcophagus. This is a clay red color on the top. Look at all those spikes along the top of its body. And along the bottom is a dark green color. But I love the detail of all those spikes along its back. That really gives it a strong texture. That's really cool. And the tail, of course, controls the head, so you can move the head around. Right back here, we've got a winged dinosaur. I'm sure you recognize this from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. This is the Quetzalcoatlus, and it has two action buttons. The first on the top flaps its wings, and there's actually one on the bottom that controls the mouth. Oh, here's a dinosaur you don't see too much of. This is a Ceratosaurus. This dinosaur is gray with splotches of dark brown, and of course the red back and the super bright red face with the white horn on the very top. This dinosaur has an action button on its back that controls its jaw, and the rest of its body is fully adjustable. Right back here is another Sarcophagus, but this one has totally different coloring. It's got the blue bottom, the dark purple top, same spines though, and then it's got orange and red splotches all over its back. That is super cool. Here is another unusual predator. This is the Majungasaurus. This dinosaur is pretty brightly colored. Although it's mostly green in the back, it has those bright yellow coloring right along its back and that bright blue color right on its neck and on its head. And this figure has quite a lot of sound effects, as you can hear. The tail also moves the head around so you can make it look super realistic. All right, this is another super noisy dinosaur. This is the Cryolophosaurus. This figure is dark blue around most of its body, and it's got the orange head and neck as well. I love that accent. And with this tail, you can adjust the head and wiggle it around. How cool is that? All right, here is a full-sized Allosaurus. I love the coloring on this dinosaur. It's got the tan yellow bottom and the bright blue top. That is so cool. I think we've actually got two Allosauruses here, both with different coloring. So let's check this one out first. This one has two action buttons on the top. The first controls its jaw, and the second button controls its arms. How cool is that? The legs are fully adjustable, and the tail you can twist as well. The second Allosaurus is mostly gray with the yellow splotches all along the top of its body. And this has one action button on its back where you press it and it controls the jaw. Right over here, we've got a brightly colored Suchomimus. This is a bright yellow with brown along its spine, and this dinosaur has a few action buttons. The first controls its neck and jaw, and the second controls its tail. Plus, the rest of the figure is fully adjustable as well. Oh, here's actually a second Suchomimus with totally different coloring. This one is mostly blue along the entire body, but it's got the yellow detailing along its spine as well as those splotches. And this Suchomimus has one action on its back. When you press it down, it does a chomping action. All right, here's another Baryonyx with different coloring. This Baryonyx is light brown on the sides and the belly, and on the top has a dark blue coloring all along its back to the tail and to the head. But the coolest part of the coloring is this super reflective blue coloring right on its head. This Baryonyx is fully adjustable and it has one action button for its jaw. Here is another Cryolophosaurus. This one is differently colored than the last one that we saw. It's mostly yellow with the brown on the top and of course the bright orange crown on its head. This dinosaur is fully adjustable. You can move the tail to adjust the head. And of course, as you can hear, it comes with tons of sound effects. Here is another Metriacanthosaurus, but once again, different coloring than the last one we saw. This one is a bright red color with brown detailing all along its back. And on the head, you can see that it's got that bright orange and yellow coloring. There is one action button on this dinosaur, and that controls the jaw. Up next, we've got another Carcharodontosaurus. Check out the coloring on this one. This is a bright blue coloring, and it's got the brown and orange specks on its back and neck, and right around its eye as well. This dinosaur is fully adjustable with legs, arms, and tail, and there's one action button on its back that when you press, it does a chomping action. All right. We've got another Baryonyx right here. This one is bright green with brown on the top. And as usual, the arms and legs are fully adjustable, and there is one action button on the top that controls its jaw. All right, check this one out. I remember this from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. This is a Dimetrodon. And look at that huge spine on its back. It's red with yellow speckles all over it. And with this dinosaur figure, when you wiggle the tail back and forth, it opens and closes its jaw. All right, I see a ton of velociraptors in here. Let's pull a few out. This velociraptor is a green color with a darker green along the top and is fully adjustable. Even with the mouth, you can open and close. The second velociraptor is different coloring. This is a blue along most of its body. It's got the tan bottom, but the coolest part of all, it's got the yellow along the top and a shining gold along its head. It's actually reflective, which is super cool. And this velociraptor is mostly tan. You can see it along the bottom and the sides with the brown top. But most importantly, this velociraptor has a slashing action. It is spring-loaded, so you can actually twist its torso back and forth, and it'll do this slashing action. All right over here, we've got a baby T-Rex with a jaw-chomping action, brightly green colored, and fully adjustable. And this is a Dilophosaurus. It is mostly gray colored with darker gray along the top. But this Dilophosaurus actually has an action. When you move the tail, it activates its frills. That's so cool. We've still got more velociraptors in here. Let's check them out. Here are 4 velociraptors. The first is an orangish velociraptor, and it has the slashing action. The next velociraptor is a bright red color with green striping on the top. Look at how bright this velociraptor is, and it is fully adjustable. The next velociraptor is a classic one. This is blue, and it comes with battle damage on the side as well. And this velociraptor is more of a yellow coloring with brown on the top. This one also comes with battle damage on the side as well. All right, just a few dinosaurs left. This is a Herrerasaurus. It is all green, and it has different shades of green all along its body. And it is fully adjustable with the mouth, the neck, the arms, and the legs. Over here, we've got a weird looking dinosaur. This is the Shringosaurus. Look at those huge horns on its head. and the brown coloring on the top and the yellow on the sides. This is quite the odd looking dinosaur, at least I think so. And our last two dinosaurs of this collection. First, we've got the Great Dimorphodon. This is mostly a gray color with a dark red along the bottom of its wings, but it's still fully adjustable with its legs, its mouth, its neck, and its wings. And this Velociraptor is a dark gray color with yellow detailing right along the top of it and is fully adjustable as well. Today we're checking out this huge bin of Camp Cretaceous versus Jurassic World Dominion. Let's dig in. Our first giant figure from right in the center of the bin is the Jurassic World Dominion Giganotosaurus. This is a pretty large figure. It's got the soft green body with the black detailing all over the top. It's got that huge spine on its back as well. And this figure has some features as well. It has a chopping action and it has a torso spinning action. This big figure is the Camp Cretaceous Extreme Damage T-Rex. This figure has posable arms, legs, tail, and a neck that you can move in all directions, and you can open its mouth for posing, and most importantly, it's got the extreme battle damage on the side that you can turn on and off. This next figure is the Jurassic World Dominion Tyrannosaurus. This is a pretty big figure as well. It's got a dark body with the red stripe all the way to the top of its head, and it's got a few action buttons. You can use the tail to control the neck, and there's a button for chomping as well. I've also got some brand new figures from both Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World Dominion, so let's open these up next. This is the Camp Cretaceous Soundstrike Sinoceratops. It's got the all gray body, so let's open it up and check it out. You can see it's got bumps and texturing all over its body, and it's not all the same everywhere. You can even see a little bit of its ribs right there too. Interestingly, it's got all black eyes, and it's got some yellow and orange detailing on the top of its head right there. And you can use the tail to control the head. This is the Jurassic World Dominion Massive Action Siamosaurus, or at least I think that's how you say it. Let's open it up. This is a pretty unique looking dinosaur. It looks like it walks on all fours. It has a huge red spine on its back. It's got some interesting coloring along its body. It's mostly black, but then it has these white splotches all over. And this figure has a couple actions too. First, you can use the tail to swing the head up and down and all around. And there's a button on its tail as well to control the chomping. Next up is the Jurassic World Dominion Roar Strikers Rajasaurus. This is pretty cool. I actually have one Rajasaurus that we'll see later on in this bin, but this one has entirely different coloring. It is a dark blue color. It's got some lighter coloring along the bottom of its neck and its chin. It's got the iconic spines along the top of its neck. And of course, it has the action for when you press down on its body. It's got some chomping action. This is the Camp Cretaceous Dino Escape 3-pack. It comes with a Tyrannosaurus Rex, Darius, and Velociraptor Blue. So let's open it up and check it out. First up, we've got the giant T-Rex figure. This is the light gray brown T-Rex. It's got the darker brown along the top, and it's got the button on the top of its head for the chomping and roaring. Here we've got the Darius figure with the yellow jacket and blue pants, and it doesn't come with any accessories for him, but he does have a necklace. And finally, in the 3-pack is the iconic Velociraptor Blue figure. This is pretty similar to some other figures that I already have. This is the Jurassic World Dominion Ankylosaurus. It's got this super long neck with the clay red coloring and the brown top with tons of spikes all over its body. It's also got a few action buttons as well. Here is the Camp Cretaceous Carnotaurus figure. This figure is almost as big as many of the T-Rex figures that you'll see. It's got the dark brown red coloring all over its body and some darker detailing along the top. It's got the iconic battle damage right on its nose. It's got the horns on its head as well, and it has some action features as well. Over here is another Spinosaurus figure from Camp Cretaceous. But as you can see, this one has totally different coloring. It is a soft green color over most of its body, and it's got some tan detailing along the top of its back and some unique coloring right on the top as well. And this figure has yellow eyes instead of those black eyes. And with this figure as well, you can use the tail to control the head. This is one of my favorite Camp Cretaceous figures. This is the T-Rex from Camp Cretaceous. And it's my favorite because it's one of the largest T-Rexes that I have. It has some awesome coloring, and it has the tail and button on the tail that you can use to control the neck and the jaw. And I just love how realistic you can make this figure look just by moving the tail around. We've got another Camp Cretaceous figure here. This is the Spinosaurus. It's got the light tan coloring along most of its body. It's got some brighter coloring along the bottom of its neck, but most importantly, it's got the red along the spine and at the top of its head too. Plus, it's got those dark orange eyes, which is a pretty cool feature. And this figure is pretty adjustable as well. You can move the arms, the legs, the tail, you can move the neck around, and of course, there's a button at the top of its head for chomping. And check out all those teeth too. I really like how narrow the Spinosaurus's mouth is. We've got another super large T-Rex figure in here. This is from Jurassic World Dominion. It has much darker coloring with the black on top and the dark brown on bottom with a lighter underbelly. This T-Rex has a much bigger jaw and neck than what you'll see in many of the other Camp Cretaceous T-Rexes, and it comes with some actions as well. You can use the tail to swing the torso back and forth, and it has a button to activate the jaw. Look at that, it's even got some room in its mouth that you could probably fit a few miniature dinosaurs in there. Here we've got a few Baryonyx figures from Camp Cretaceous. They're both green and brown in color, but they're not quite the same. This one is a darker green, has two tones of brown along the top. It's got the action button on its back to activate the jaw. This one is a much lighter green. It's almost like a mustard yellow and green color, and it has brown on the top and a darker green along the back. And this figure has a slide lever action to activate the jaw and sound effects. This figure is the Tyrannosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got a soft green body with the yellow underbelly and the brown detailing along the top, and it's got the orange crown on the top of its head. This figure is pretty adjustable. You can move the arms and the legs. You can use the legs to actually position the neck up and down. And you can use the tail to swing the torso back and forth, and a button on its tail to use the jaw. This is a Camp Cretaceous Triceratops. It's got the brown coloring along most of its body, two tones of blue along the top and along the front as well. It's got some sound effects, and just like the Spinosaurus, when you move the tail, you can control the head. Next up, we've got the Camp Cretaceous Parasaurolophus figure with yellow coloring along most of its body. It's got some dark purple and then some bright reflective like purple pink coloring along its leg and its back. And it's got the iconic horn at the top of its head too. And with this figure, you can use the tail to control the head just like many of the other Camp Cretaceous figures. This is the Jurassic World Dominion Sound Surge T-Rex. This T-Rex is a lot smaller compared to many of the other T-Rex figures that I have. It's got the same type of coloring, brown along most of its body, with gray detailing along its neck. But the most important part about this figure is the sound effects it comes with. And as the final feature, you can open and close the mouth manually. You'll see that the teeth or the tongue is not painted though. This Camp Cretaceous figure, I believe, is the extreme chompin' Indominus Rex. It's a smaller looking figure with a huge head and huge eyes, and it comes with a few features. There's a button at the top of its head to activate some sound effects, and when it's dark you can see its eyes glow. And you can use the tail to open the jaw, and when you press on the tongue, it'll close it. Over here, we've got the Camp Cretaceous Cryolophosaurus. This Cryolophosaurus has the dark blue coloring with the white and red detailing along its body. I do have a yellow Cryolophosaurus as well, but I think this was the only one from the Camp Cretaceous toy line. And as you can hear, it's got some sound effects, and you can use the tail to control the head. Next up is the Jurassic World Dominion Rajasaurus. This figure has brown coloring. We saw the one earlier that had the dark blue coloring. It's got the same spine and the horn, but yeah, this one is a light brown color with some dark blue detailing along the top of its back and its neck. And of course, it still has the same action for when you press down on its body, it chomps. Next up, we've got the Jurassic World Dominion Sound Surge Giganotosaurus. This is a smaller Giganotosaurus figure, but it still has the iconic spine and the same coloring as many of the other figures. You can open and close the mouth manually, and the most important part is that it's got some sound effects built in. Next, we've got the Camp Cretaceous Ceratosaurus. This dinosaur figure has the iconic white horn at the top of its nose. It's got the red detailing and the brown detailing along its back and neck, and the rest of its body is a light gray color. And it's got one action button on its back to activate the jaw. This Jurassic World Dominion figure is the Ankylosaurus. It's got the clay red body with the brown top and lighter spikes, and it's got an action that when you press down on its body, it swings the tail back and forth with sound effects. Next up, we've got a figure that I bought pretty recently. This is the Jurassic World Dominion Megaraptor. It's got some pretty cool coloring. The entire back of its body is a bright red color, and the front is this darker gray-blue color. It's got some white detailing along its nose. And just like the Rajasaurus figures, this has an action that when you press down on its body, it chomps. I believe this one is the Jurassic World Dominion Iguanodon. It's got a light tan body with some detailing along the top, and when you press down on this body, it moves its head up and down. Right over here, we've got some smaller Camp Cretaceous figures. First, we've got this bright red and green Velociraptor with spring-loaded legs, so you can actually launch them into the air. We've also got two different colored Stygimolochs. This first one is dark brown with some purple detailing along the top. This one is a lighter blue color, and it's got some purple detailing around its face and its neck. And of course, both of them have the head ramming action when you press down on their tail. And of course, we've got another Camp Cretaceous Velociraptor blue figure. I've got a couple Jurassic World Dominion figures with extreme battle damage. This first one is the Dimetrodon with the battle damage on its side that you can turn on and off by pressing this button. And there's also this yellow and dark blue Velociraptor with the battle damage that you can turn on and off with this button up top. We've got some more smaller figures in here. This first one is the Camp Cretaceous Monolophosaurus. It has a dark green body. It's got some yellow detailing along the top and some red right at the top of its head. This next Camp Cretaceous figure is the Proceratosaurus figure. It has a dark blue body with some orange and brown detailing along the top of its head. And this figure is from Jurassic World Dominion. This is the Moros Intrepidus. It has a soft green body and orange from the tail down this line on its side, as well as around its eyes too. And here are our final three figures in this bin, all from Jurassic World Dominion. First, we've got a tan Atrociraptor in the crawling pose. This is the Maragaya figure with the huge spikes on its shoulders. And inside this container, what could it be? All right, it is another Atrociraptor figure. This is the white and brown Atrociraptor. And despite how small this figure is, it is pretty adjustable. And you can even twist the neck around too. Welcome back! Today we're checking out my collection of Jurassic World Dominion figures, including these brand new ones that I'm gonna open up in this video. First up is the Roar Strikers Iguanodon. So here is the unboxed Iguanodon. I think this might be the first Iguanodon in my collection, actually. It's got a light tan body with the dark brown on top and the tan striping. It's got the barcode scanner right along the top. And you can move its front legs around and its back legs. Plus, there is an action button that when you press down on the body, it roars and dips its head down too. Next up, we've got the Mega Raptor from the Roar Strikers series. As you already know, the Mega Raptor is related to the Velociraptor, but it's got some differences. This figure has feathers all over its body. You can see some on its arms, on the top of its back, on the top of its head, and at the end of the tail as well. This figure is bright red in the back and a dark blue-gray in the front. Plus, it has some detailing on the face as well. And this figure comes with an action that when you press down on the body, it chomps and roars. Next up, we've got a duel pack. This is the Sound Surge, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Giganotosaurus set. All right, here they are. Let's check out the Giganotosaurus first. This Giganotosaurus has the typical dark green and black coloring, typical for the Jurassic World figures. And it's pretty adjustable. You can move the tail, you can move the arms and the legs. So it is pretty adjustable. I will note that the mouth is actually not colored at all. So it is just green, just like the rest of the body. But the coolest feature of these figures are the roaring sound effects. Let's check that out. That is pretty cool. I bet that roar is from the movie. Now let's check out the Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure has the tan brown coloring with the black detailing that we see in many of the T-Rex figures. You can open and close the mouth, but as you notice, the mouth is not colored differently than the rest of the face. And you can move the arms and the legs and the tail just like the Giganotosaurus. So now let's check out the T-Rex sound effects that this comes with. I really like how this comes in a 2-pack too. And they're both the same size, smaller than most of the T-Rex figures, but still a good size. Next up, we've got a super colossal Atrociraptor. This figure has the light gray body with the brown and lighter brown detailing on its back and sides. It's got some huge claws on its hand, just like the super colossal Velociraptor figures. And on its face, it has a full set of teeth all the way around. It's got those orange eyes. And just like all the other super colossal figures, you can feed it miniature dinosaurs and empty it out in its stomach. Next up of these super colossal figures is the T-Rex. This figure is dark brown on the sides, black on the top, and has the light underbelly like many dinosaurs. It is fully adjustable like the other super colossal figures. It's got the yellow eyes and a huge set of teeth. And of course, this super colossal T-Rex can eat miniature dinosaurs as well that you can empty out in the stomach compartment. And finally, of the super colossal figures is the Giganotosaurus. Just like we saw in the smaller Giganotosaurus, it has the dark green sides. However, this one has more detailing along the top. I think it has some bigger spines and it has a light underbelly too. You can move the wrists, you can move the arms, the legs, the tail, and of course you can open up the Giganotosaurus's mouth really wide to eat those miniature dinosaurs too. And this figure actually has some bright golden eyes, which I think is really cool. Next up, we've got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is the most adjustable Tyrannosaurus Rex that I have. You can twist the torso around, you can move all the joints in its arms, in its legs. It actually has 2 joints in its tail as well, which is pretty cool. And it has tons of detail on its face too. It's got some super realistic details in its mouth, like the tongue and the flap on the side. It's got these dark yellow teeth, and it's got those marble yellow eyes too. Here, we've got the Thrash and Devour T-Rex. This T-Rex, just like the super colossal figure, is dark brown on the sides. It has the black on the top and the light underbelly too. I will note that this figure's head is proportionally larger than the rest of its body compared to the other T-Rex figures that I have, which is an interesting detail. And it has the tail that controls the head and a button for roaring too. This is the Ocean Protector Mosasaurus. Unlike the older Mosasaurus figure, this has a dark blue body with white speckles all over its top. It's got the light blue eyes, a huge jaw, and you can adjust the fins and actually move the tail in this one. Next up is the sound-slashing Tyrannosaurus. This dinosaur was one of the stars of the new Jurassic World Dominion movie, and this figure is actually pretty controllable too. You can use the tail to swing the head around and the torso, and there's a button on the tail for the chomping as well. And you know, I think this might be my favorite dinosaur from the new Jurassic World movie. Comment down below what your favorite dinosaur was from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. This is the Roar Strikers Ankylosaurus. It has the clay red bottom and the brown and tan top. This figure is pretty adjustable as well. You can twist its head around, you can move its legs, and it has an action button that when you press down on the body, it swings its tail around. This big figure is the Yangchuanosaurus. It has a soft green colored body with the lighter underbelly and the brown detailing along the top, plus this orange detail right on the top of its head. You can move the arms on this figure and the legs, and the tail actually controls the torso and the head, so you can move it and make it look really lifelike. This is the Rowdy Roars Atrociraptor, and this figure has two features. First is when you press this button on the top, you get some sound effects, and the second is when you touch its chin, it'll actually walk around. Next up, we have a mysterious dino cage, but what could be inside of it? Let's see. All right, it's an Atrociraptor, and you can actually control it from the back too. This figure is a light gray color with the brown detailing over its body and is pretty adjustable too. You can move all the different limbs, you can open and close the jaw, and even twist the neck around. Next up is the Rajasaurus with the brown coloring on its side and bottom, and it's got the gray-blue coloring right along the top of its back, as well as that single horn right on the top of its head. Plus, this figure comes with an action that when you press down on its body, it chomps and roars. This next one is the massive action Ankylosaurus. Just like the Carnotaurus, it has the clay red body with the brown detailing along the top, and it's got this super long neck that you can actually control by moving the tail around. Here we've got the Rowdy Roars Dilophosaurus. It's got the iconic frills on the sides and the top, and just like the other Rowdy Roars figure that I have, it has two action buttons. First is when you press the button on top of its head, and the second is when you touch its chin. It can walk around. Next up is the Hammond Collection Baryonyx. This figure is super adjustable in all its limbs. It has some pretty cool coloring, pretty similar to the other Baryonyx figures, especially with that blue detailing right underneath its eye. So this figure is super easy to pose on the shelf. I really like that. This is the Pachycephalosaurus, actually from the Legacy collection. It's got the gray body with a little bit of brown detailing on the bottom and a bunch of blue along the top. It's got the DNA barcode scanner right along its shoulder, and you can use the tail for the headbutting action. This is the Carnotaurus from the Jurassic World Dominion movie. It's got the green body with the orange detailing along the top, and it's pretty adjustable too. You can move its neck, open its jaw, you can move its legs and arms, and even twist the tail too. Here is the huge winged dinosaur that I'm sure you recognize from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. This is the Quetzalcoatlus. It's got the soft blue-gray coloring along its body, it's got the brown wings, and it's got some bright coloring right along its head. It's got some orange and some bright blue too. Looks like we've got some battle damage figures from the Jurassic World Dominion collection. This first one is the Velociraptor with extreme battle damage. right there on the side. You can press it to turn it on and off. I've also got actually 2 of the extreme battle damage Coeluruses. These figures are pretty adjustable as well. You can put them in all sorts of poses and even open and close their jaws. And I've got the Dimetrodon with extreme battle damage right on its side. Next up, I've got the Moros Intrepidus from the Ferocious pack. This figure has a soft green color along most of its body. It's got the orange along its tail and a little bit of detailing along its back, and some detailing right along its eyes too. This is the Ferocious pack Miragaia. This figure has a darker color scheme with the dark gray blue color in the back and the black in the front, with some brighter detailing right along its face. And the most iconic part are these 2 huge horns right next to its shoulders. This is the Cosmoceratops from the Legacy Collection. It has a dark green color along most of its body with a bit brighter green along the top. It's got some cool detailing along its face, and it has an action button for roaring. This is a Dilophosaurus. Now you can't open and close its jaws, but it's got the bright frills right in the front as usual, and a green body on the bottom and black on the top. Here we've got another Atrociraptor. This one is in the sneaking or stalking pose. It's got the light tan body with a bit of dark brown detailing along it, and you can even open and close the jaw on this one. This is the Zungaripterus. This is a flying dinosaur, and it's got the bright yellow wings and belly and brown top and face as well. And it's got some bright blue and red detailing right along its face. And finally, we've got a little Velociraptor Beta. This figure looks a lot like Blue. It's got the same distinctive coloring, but this is actually a younger Velociraptor, just like in the movie. Welcome back to Amazing Dinosaurs. Today I'm showing you a collection of my biggest Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World dinosaur figures. Let's get started with these brand new ones that I just bought. Let's start with the Tyrannosaurus Rex. All right, so here's the Tyrannosaurus Rex with battle damage. That is pretty cool that it flips open and closed so easily. The rest of this T-Rex has a brown body with black detailing on the top, and the neck and head is fully posable too. Next up, we've got the Camp Cretaceous Mosasaurus. Let's open it up and check it out. All right, so here is the fully assembled giant Mosasaurus. It's got an opening jaw, and all the tails are adjustable. Top of its body is a dark blue-purple color, and its underbelly is a gray color. Check out those blue eyes too. Next up, we've got the giant Giganotosaurus. Check out the spikes on this dinosaur right at the top. That is a massive spine. This dinosaur has some huge teeth, and like many of the super colossal figures, you can actually feed it small dinosaurs and then empty it out in the stomach compartment. Over here on the other side, we've got another super colossal dinosaur. This is the T-Rex. This has a darker body than most of my T-Rex figures. It still has the white underbelly, and just like the Giganotosaurus, you can open it up, feed it miniature dinosaurs all the way down, and open it up in the stomach compartment. Next up, we've got a giant Brachiosaurus, and it's pretty detailed, even though it's a huge dinosaur figure. You can adjust all the legs, to move the neck up and down. So it's a pretty cool figure, and it's ginormous, probably stands about 3 feet tall. Next up, another huge dinosaur is the Apatosaurus. Check out this green body with the lighter green striping on the top. You can open and close the mouth and rotate the head too. Next up, we've got a huge T-Rex that's over a foot long from tail to the head. This T-Rex has a dark brown body, a yellow underbelly, and gray detailing all over the top of its body, plus an action button for roaring. Right over here, we've got another T-Rex with camouflage custom coloring. This dinosaur looks really cool. I love the coloring on this. And with the tail, you can control the face and the roaring too. Right over here, we've got an Indominus Rex with battle damage. Let's check that out. That is really cool. Again, I really like how you can flip that on and off super easily. Rest of this dinosaur is all gray, super textured and bumpy all over its body, and it has an action button to operate the jaw. Next up, we've got an evil looking Scorpius Rex. It's got the quills on its tail, spring loaded so you can flick the tail back and forth. It's got those huge claws on its feet too. This is one mean looking dinosaur. Right up top here, we've got another Mosasaurus. So we've got twin Mosasauruses in my collection now. You can see that it's speckled white all along its back with the dark blue and the gray underbelly as well. And the tail moves too. Here is a Tyrannosaurus Rex with a darker body, just like the super colossal one that we saw earlier. The head on this T-Rex is ginormous too, a lot bigger than the other T-Rexes that I have. Over here, we've got a custom colored Indominus Rex. This one's got blue, it's got purple, it's got orange, and it's got black. And it's got some green eyes too. And just like many of the other Indominus Rex figures, this has a slashing action and a roar button too. We got a ton of T-Rexes in here. Check out this gray-brown one that is fully adjustable and fully posable. We've also got some more battle damage T-Rexes. All those teeth, fully posable and fully adjustable legs, arms, and tail. Up front here, we've got another T-Rex, but with different coloring. This is like a brown-orange color and a darker brown on top. Once again, this T-Rex is also fully adjustable, can pose the neck, and it's got a button at the top of its head to control the jaw. Here is another orange-brown Tyrannosaurus Rex, but as you probably already noticed, this one has battle damage all over it, and it doesn't have the little button to click it back and forth. It's just painted on its body. Here is a normal colored Indominus Rex without the battle damage. This Indominus Rex has a gray body. It's a little bit darker on the top. It's got those spikes right around the head, and then it's got darker coloring right around its eyes too. Here is another Mosasaurus. This one has different coloring than the other ones that we've seen in this collection so far. It's a lighter blue coloring on the sides. Still got the dark gray top. No white speckles on this one though. And just like the other Mosasauruses, it has a movable jaw, can adjust the fins, but on this one, the tail actually doesn't move at all. Next up, another T-Rex. Light brown coloring on the side, darker brown on the top, and a yellow underbelly. And this T-Rex has the tail that also controls the head. Here is our first Spinosaurus of this collection. This Spinosaurus is light tan on the side, the movable tail, legs, ankles, arms, neck, and the jaw as well. Over on this side, we've got a big old Carnotaurus. It's got a gray underbelly and clay red sides and a darker brown top. Look at all those bumps and spikes along its body. And the two horns up top too. Here we've got a T-Rex, but this one is crazy custom colored. Look at the bright red on this body. You wouldn't see this coloring out in the wild, but it sure makes for an awesome collectible. Here is a big old Stegosaurus with gray-blue coloring on the sides and a darker gray along the top with a pink underbelly. And this dinosaur, like all the others, is super textured. You can see it's got super bumpy skin everywhere. Here is an Allosaurus with a dark green body and gray and red detailing right along its neck. See that set of teeth too, and those red eyes. That's really cool. Depending on how much you slide this open, it'll either growl or it'll roar full on. This is another Allosaurus, but with totally different features. This has a tan body with blue on the top and a brighter blue right along the head. And it's got 2 action buttons. That one controls the jaw and the other controls the arms. Look at that blue tongue too. How unusual. Right in the back here, we've got a tan dinosaur. This is a Carcharodontosaurus. It's got the brown and yellow detailing with the bumps right along its spine all the way to its tail. This Carcharodontosaurus also has quite a set of teeth too. Here is a dark red dinosaur with a white underbelly. This is a Carnotaurus, and this dinosaur has a chomping action. Check out those 2 iconic horns right at the top of the head too. This big old dinosaur is a Suchomimus. It's got a blue body with a darker blue legs and a yellow top. Look at that, that goes all the way down the spine to the tail. Plus, this Suchomimus has a chomping action. Look at those huge rows of teeth too. And that red tongue. Up next, we've got a big old Stegosaurus again, but with different coloring. This is a dark green along the sides. It's got tan and brown that leads to the underbelly. And this Stegosaurus has a swinging action for its tail. Let's check that out. That's pretty cool. This is a little bit smaller, but it's still a pretty big dinosaur. It's a Ceratosaurus with dark green coloring, and it's got the slide action for different sound effects. That is really cool. Oh, you know what? Back here is another Ceratosaurus. This one though is gray with brown spots and red right on the top and a super bright red face. Let's see what this dinosaur can do. This big old super bright dinosaur is a Metriacanthosaurus. It's even got some bright yellow orange right on the top of its head. This gray dinosaur is an Allosaurus. It's got that yellow detailing from the tail all the way to the top of the head. Look at those interesting things right above its eyes. It's kind of like eyebrows in a way. And our last dinosaur is the good old Albertosaurus with battle damage. You can see it's got the slash on its leg, and it's also got a squishy stomach, ribs that you can pull down, and then the skin that covers it all. Want to see more dino videos? Click the subscribe button now.